Welcome to Shomach Shov on the Daf. We're holding in Zevachim Daf Samech Beis. The Gemara with Aleph, when it speaks about how do they know when they build by Sheni, where is the Mizbech? Where is the location of the Mizbech? So the Gemara in the second answer says, Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha Omar Efroi Shel Yitzchak Ro Shemunach Boisamokim. They came and they saw the ashes of Yitzchak that are sitting in the place of the Mizbech. Here comes the obvious question that what do you mean Efrei Shel Yitzchak? The ashes of Yitzchak. Yitzchak didn't die. Yitzchak wasn't Shechted in the place of Har Moriah. Yitzchak lived a full life and was buried in Maras Machpelah. So what does it mean Efrei Shel Yitzchak? So this is already addressed by the Maharsha on Chidushei Haggados and Brochas Daf Samech Beis. And the Maharsha there says two Mahalchim. And the second Mahalch he wants to say that it means based on the Machshava of Avram. Avram Avinu, in his thought, he wanted to Shecht Yitzchak. So therefore it's considered to be that there is Efrei Shel Yitzchak. The first answer the Mashava there is, Efrei Shel Yitzchak means not Efrei Shel Yitzchak. It means the ashes of the ram that replaced Yitzchak. And that's what the Yavet says over here as well. Meaning, according to this, the simple understanding, there wasn't really Efrei Shel Yitzchak. But there was Efer, there was ashes that happened in the time of Akedas Yitzchak. But Ayin in the Shiboyle Haleket, Shiboyle Yutches, he brings a medrash that we don't have, that says that Avraham Avinu did Akedas Yitzchak, so Yitzchak turned to be ashes, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought Tal Sha'asid Lachyois Meisim, and he brought Yitzchak back to life. So here it sounds a little bit more. It sounds like there is a concept that Yitzchak was really ashes. What's the Havana in that? So we'll start with a Maaseh. Story that happened with my father Shlita. When he was a child, he met for the first time who would eventually be his Rebbe, Rav Hudner Zatzal. And Rav Hudner asked my father as a child, what are you learning in yeshiva? He said, I'm learning the Parasha of the Akedah. So he told him, in your opinion, what is the highlight of the Akedah? What is the point in the Akedah, which is the most dramatic highlight, important moment of the Akedah? So he said, I think the most important part of the Akedah is when Avraham Avinu is about to Shecht Yitzchak, but the Malach stops him. Told him Rav Hudner that's not the most important part of the Akedah. The most important part of the Akedah is when Avraham Avinu takes the ayil, the ram, and shechts the ayil instead. Why is that so important? So Rav Hudner told him when you'll grow, you'll become older, you'll understand. So my father Shlita explains today, the Pshat is like this. As you see in the Psukim, the Satan tried to stop Avram from taking the ayil, taking the ram. And only after Avram Avinu brought the ram, that's when he got all the brachas. What is the importance of the ayil? The Ramban in Vayikro, beginning of Vayikro, Perek Aleph Pasuk Tes says, that what is the idea of karbonis? So he explains based on Derech HaGodah, that when a person brings a carbon, the pshat is that the carbon replaces the Adam. That instead of the Adam dying and bringing his blood and his limbs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the carbon comes instead of him. Says the Sasemes and Vayikro Yer Tafresh Mem Gimel in the name of the Chidushei Harim. Says, where do we find, where does this happen? When was the first time that an animal, that a carbon replaced the Adam? It started in Akedas Yitzchak. And Akedas Yitzchak, the ram replaced Yitzchak. And this is what Bris Karov and Parashat Vayera, who says it, that brings the Rashi, when it says in the Pasuk, Vayaleh lo ilo tachas b'noi, that every avodah that he did, Avraham Avinu said, Yehi rotzosh tezu kilu yasur b'bni. So it says the Bris Karov, what does it mean? What's the idea? Kilu yasur b'bni? The pshat is that the ayil, the ram, replaced Yitzchak. He's oimed instead of Yitzchak. And so brings the Ma'amori Pachat Yitzchak and Sukkos Maimer Memdalet Ois Hei. The whole idea of karbonis, that a carbon replaces the Adam, it starts with the Akedah, and in the Akedah, Avraham Avinu took the ayil in lieu of Yitzchak. The ayil represents Yitzchak. It was as if the ayil is Yitzchak himself. And just to add to this, that the Chidah and the Pnei David in Vayera Ois Chof, he has a little more Kabbalistic twist to it, because he says that the neshama of Yitzchak went into the ram, so the ram is really Yitzchak. It's not only that he represents Yitzchak, but the neshama of Yitzchak in some way was in the ram, and that's the carbon going up to Shemayim, is Yitzchak himself going to Shemayim. And we may say the Briskirov and the Pachad Yitzchak. That is the pshat that it says in all these places, Efra Shel Yitzchak. We find it in our Gemara, they quote our Gemara. And we find the pasuk that says, "V'zocharti es brisi Yaakov, v'av es brisi Yitzchak, v'av es brisi Avraham Eskor." So as Rashi brings there, that it doesn't say Schira by Yitzchak. You don't have to remember Yitzchak, because Efresh Yitzchak tzavor umunach lefon al gabei mizbech. The ashes of Yitzchak are sitting in front of Hakadosh Baruch Hu on the altar. What ashes of Yitzchak? What Efer? But the ayil represents Yitzchak. The ayil came instead of Yitzchak. And the shechting of the ayil is the shechting of Yitzchak. And the male chusa akeda that we have is not only the fact that Avraham Avinu was willing to sacrifice the Yitzchak, but it's considered to be that he actually shechted Yitzchak by shechting the ayil. That's why Chazal and Sefer Hazor tell us the Yitzchak is the same letters as Keitz Chai. It's considered to be Tchias Hamesim, that he came back to life. That's the Shibola Eleka that we mentioned. There was Tchias Hamesim that he came back because it's considered to be as if he died. That's what Rav Hutner meant when he told my father, the Ikar HaKedo is the shechting of the ayil, the shechting of the ram. Anyone who wants to join or sponsor the Shomach Shava Shiurim, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.